Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Tahir Dhindsa and you're watching SDTV. Attack on Iran by US and Israel together was not a surprise. Earlier, there was a bipartisan thesis written by Marco Rubio that says that the US should have complete control, hegemony over the Western Hemisphere, with one corollary which was new, that it should have monopoly over the dispensation of the oils because the dollar is pegged with the oil. Steve Witkoff said that we want oil, Irani oil, without any restrictions. So regime change failed. Then they wanted that there should be something in the oil. And then stalemate came because the response was tough. Israel came in with a different ambitions. They wanted to expand. Now they have almost control of the United Arab Emirates, but nobody's talking about it. It can be taken as expansion, geographic expansion as well. Now they are with to China. There are other things, but Chinese made it clear that on Taiwan they go for the one China policy and there is no compromise, and there is no talk on that. On Iran, President Xi said that they will continue to use Irani oil. If the US cannot get control on the Iranian oil, then the option is to destroy the Iranian facility for a couple of years. It should be absent. And the world depends on the largest oil, the country which has the largest volume of oil with them is the US, on US, especially after the Venezuela, depend on that. So that is the paper on which they're working, and that seems that there's a stalemate, and they might have been checkmate. Now President Putin is coming. Economic side is clear. The military side is Putin, and the Eurasia, which is China and Russia and other countries, they had been operating as a split air conditioner. Like when the Russians were put under sanctions on SWIFT, overnight China placed $464 billion into their central bank, and that sustained the ruble. So China is economic powerhouse, have military power as Russia is the military arm outside, and together now the Putin is going there, and the President Putin said giving armaments and arms supplies to the Iran and well. So is US going to adopt an option to destroy the oil facilities if they cannot hold? So the China is also denied and then negotiate or not. What are the options on that? Because that's a very serious, that would be a world war in piecemeal with a modular approach. We have today with us very eminent scholar with us, and Vice Admiral Ahmed Saeed sir. You're former president of the NIMA, and you're a vice admiral, and by study you're a doctor. You've done your PhD in this area. So please tell something, say something on which I have just said, and we'll rumble on. And the aim is trying to understand that what the next move, where this stalemate, which has become regional, is going to take us.
Thank you very much, Tahir. I think you have uh, touched all the corners, whatever geopolitical is happening at the moment, a broader picture. And within that, one of the statement which was given by the Marco Rubio at that time after the Venezuela uh, incident, he said that it's America who will decide how the oil is, to whom oil will be uh, sold and at what price. So that was actually the same, I think, thinking of the America at that time, that uh, taking the lead from Marco Rubio, taking the lead from the Monroe Doctrine, they redefine their uh, sphere of influence. Rather, not redefine, rather, it will be to reassert, I would say. Because before that, if we recollect, uh, the famous Canadian Prime Minister's speech at Davos, that was actually the first stone which created a lot of ripples. that was it was talked about, and that is actually it created ripples in a way that it's a new Canada now, a Canada which wants to have its own independent policy, specifically in relations to its oil refinement, and that is from where this thing started moving. So that was, I think, in the backdrop that they wanted to reassert their American policies. They started off from Venezuela, and with Venezuela was actually the entire South America. With one stroke, they actually reset the entire South America. North they couldn't at that time, but they did go towards the Greenland, but they had a opposition from the NATOs. So next was, of course, as you said, it was the Gulf region, from where the remaining 20% of the oil is coming. 40% is with the China at that time, and then is the South America and all. So this was the major area from which the oil was oozing out. So that was their aim, to have a grip on this oil. But I would take a little variance in terms of that if we are unable to get this oil, we would like to destroy that. Maybe it could have been one of their policy guideline. But in the meantime, once they started doing this, they did realize that because of the strategy of Iran, which was, of course, that if we are hurt, then the region will be hurt, and in the larger context, the global uh, discomfort will come into play, and that is what they then started manifesting. So first attack on Kars, from where the 80% of the oil is going towards the uh, China, there was tremendous pressure on the specifically the Gulf countries' oil installations, including Saudi Arabia. Those were targeted. So I think that is from where the stalemate started coming into play. And now I see that the 40 days war, the destruction which maximum could have had happened, that has already been done. So continuing with campaign is actually counterproductive, and the loss of overall in terms of the billions which America is per day, so that is tremendous, huge. So on the backside, if we say in the home front, the Americans, the President Trump and his allies are losing their popularity, which is very necessary for them to regain at least till the November midterm elections. Secondly, going back and asking for more money from the Congress was a difficult task. Even going back and asking more than 60 days war that lapsed the 30th of the last month, even then they had to resort to this, that the war is over. They gave in writing over there. So these are the constraints which are coming up, particularly toward the Trump. On the other side, I think very uh, a strategy which was played by China, including Russia, and in front was Iran. So this trio played a very articulate strategy in which how to first make America to come, and secondly how to stop them at a certain point. So in that they played out this entire process. The main issue, I think, in any war which we have seen is not the striking power, not the number of missiles, not the aircraft carrier, not the uh, nowadays. It is how much production line you have. So within 40 days, the American production line has exhausted, whereas the Iranian production line is still intact. So they have recouped their production line. So they are ready again. So, in my view, and then came into play the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is I would say, the master stroke. One of the master stroke, I would say, still they have more cards in their kitty, which they had indicated it was
Red Sea
Babel Mandab. That Babel Mandab can be choked.
and
Number
internet traffic as well.
third is, of course, this internet traffic. This will be a real blow to the Gulf countries as well as to the American
Economy.
economy
Yeah,
as well.
real time. But I was just thinking on the margin, what goes of the US? Gulf goes, let it go. The oil that Iran would supply to the China, it's going to hurt. They confine themselves to the Western Hemisphere and live another 20, 30, 40, 50 years of repeat, this petrodollars and the oil dollar as a reserve currency. But the China would be choked because their development would be for as long as they can do it, or they replace it with the renewable as well. So can they take that extreme action of destroying Iranian oil facilities?
I think if we understand how the Chinese work. Number one is that they don't make too much noise, and number two is they think much ahead of what they are doing. That means their policies are always looking towards 50 years, 100 years. So, in my view, China has already made alternatives as far as the energy supply lines are concerned. Number one, they have very aggressively gone into, for the last two 5 year planners, if we see, they have been pursuing the transition from fossil fuel
To
towards the
renewable.
renewable energy. And at this time, around 56% of the total uh, Chinese energy requirement is from the renewable energy. So this is the world biggest renewable energy hub at the moment, and still in the subsequent 2026 to 2030, the 15th uh, 5 year planner, again they have created the same pillar that aggressively we pursue the green energy. With that, they have already have a lot of oil coming from their contracts from Russia also. So for them, I think they are well placed, even if the oil comes from Iran or not. This is I link it another issue with it. 4 years back, the Americans they started sounding that if Strait of Malacca is closed, and that was actually to hurt
China.
the Chinese economy. At that time, 4 to 5 years back, Chinese economy was heavily dependent upon the Gulf oil. So at that time, they made two key decisions. Number one was to immediately diversify our oil supply lines from Gulf. Number one, and number two was that if so required, we have our own uh, canal dug in uh, from the Gulf of Thailand. It was about 200 kilometers, and still it is there. If you Google, it's a Kra Canal. So it was about at that time 23 billion dollars cost. So they had kept it to be done in 2 to 3 years. But that was another Swiss canal they were making it, and that would have given them the edge. Number one, that would have been their own canal. Number one, and number two was that it would have given them about 12 to 13 hundred kilometers less distance.
Directly in front of Thai Sea.
Exactly. And that's how, so that's what my point is. The Chinese, if you say, they don't work jerky, they don't have such type of bottlenecks, so their flight is very smooth.
Right. So you think that Iran or no Iran, they cannot stop China on that. So still you think they're going to strike Iran again?
I think we need to see the objectivity in that. If this is to be done, I think it will be incremental skirmishes. uh, not a full-scale war as it has been done in the last in the 40 days. So it will be primarily to show something that we are present there and some engagements of that kind. But in my view, if they go for another full-scale war, which is the a day before yesterday, I heard that they are planning for the Epic Fury 2, like the India says the Sandhur 2. So these are the, I think, jargons which is more akin to their domestic audience, because elections are coming up, and but as a in my own read, it is not going to yield any.
So it is. You
positivity.
think what could have been done is all. They cannot achieve anything more than what. So the stalemate will continue, and they cannot stop China. That is the borderline. So second, Israel would now we see that Netanyahu was saying that they say that in US there's a very bad impression of Israel, and we find out the clip that was made in the basement of some plaza in Pakistan. Netanyahu said. So he has said these words, say in Pakistan, that the Pakistan is engaged in defaming. So he said that it means that now they are actively perceiving that Pakistan is an enemy and threat, and they want to do. Now the India, so this war seems to be drifting regionally and all. A few days back, I was listening to a very good seminar in a local institute in Islamabad. They said that there should be a defense pact among Turkey, Pakistan, Azerbaijan, and Egypt. And then this two countries, one nation on Bangladesh and all that. So the world seems to be that has secondaries, like the cancer has secondaries. This Iran has opened up, rip opened, and now it has secondaries all over again. So that would, in some way or the other, that is a sort of a world war with modular approach, or in a piecemeal, as the Pope has said.
I think we need to again bisect the Canadian Prime Minister speech, which was very well worded, given the entire spectrum of how the world is going to move now. And one word which he had said, that we keep the certain things in the windows, but we don't talk about. So that is he said, now is the time that we should start talking about what we are placing in the windows now. So if we have a contradiction, we must talk about. So I think the new world order, I won't say the new world order, it is the transition to a new arrangement, which is the recalibration of the existing order. That's what the Chinese say. Chinese say it needs to be recalibrated, the existing world order. So this is the recalibration of, whereby now the decision making hot spots here, the bodies those who matter in the multipolarity, they can be the organization and they can be the countries. They will have to be given respect, they will have to be given the space into those areas. So within this construct, I think the regionalism is taking its shape. So in this region where we have the middle now, placing Pakistan in the confluence of different regions, that means the Gulf,
South and West
South
Asia.
Asia and the Central Asia, as well as the East Asia. So that is the reason the importance of Pakistan becomes as a bridge. And that bridge demands Pakistan to take lead. It is I always say this is not our diplomatic option, rather it is our strategic compulsion that we have to get into this. Otherwise, it will be a lot of loss from the Pakistan side if we don't get into it. So I'm glad that the Pakistan's diplomacy is playing and weaving into that net, whereby Pakistan will have the interconnectivity with all regions. And your point that is, as you said, that now there is a likelihood that there is a confluence of four countries, that means Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan, and Azerbaijan. So they may be coming up as a one block. So this is how I think the future of this nature of balancing is to come up into the regions. So it's a natural, I would say, the evolution of what is happening at the moment at the global geopolitical level.
Thank you very much, sir. So the bottom line from there are two principles that we take from today's discussion. One is that stalemate would continue, and and Iran or no Iran, they cannot stop China. So the Monroe Doctrine, with an addition of controlling oil, is not achievable. So obviously the US is lost there. Second is that now with the new regional players and combination and agreements, defense and otherwise, US will play less and less important role over the years now, slowly in controlling these areas and all. So US is back to the Western Hemisphere, but its influence that the Monroe Doctrine said would be more on the world. That is not the China is. So the new world order is already taking shape, and the principal take from this discussion that it is unlikely that a large campaign against the Iran can be taken now. It's very unlikely. So with this we come to the end of the program. Bye for now.